Hello and welcome or welcome back. How are y'all doing? Hopefully, you guys are doing well. I am doing okay. I'm gonna put this down here. That was not a fart. Okay, I didn't fart. That was my elbow on the table. I hate when that happens when my something like makes because I can't do it kind of, but like my something will make a weird noise, or I'm sitting or like I'm zipping something up and it sounds like a fart, and it's like, oh my gosh, dude, I didn't fart. I promise you I didn't fart. It's so embarrassing. I'm like, no, everybody thinks I farted. I'm like, I promise you it wasn't fart. Anyways, that's not the point of the video. Anyways, hello, welcome back. Hopefully I said that already. If I didn't, then I apologize. And hello, hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. We're making it by, but kind of wanted to talk today, like a little bit. What is this? Do I have like a That's interesting. My pastor, one of my pastors. It's kind of weird to say, right? One of my pastors. I don't know. I feel like whatever. That's not the point. My childhood pastor. I've been at a church for many years, and I've been going to a different church, and they're going over through the book of Hebrews, which I was like, dang, I kind of feel like I might listen online. I kind of bounce back and forth between churches, and so, but I'm looking forward to this series going through Hebrews, and it was really good today. Not that it's not good every other time, but it was really good today. We literally only went over Hebrews 1 and 2. That's it. I don't even think we did. Did we even do? No. I don't even think we finished 2. I think we did 1 and half of 2, and that was it. And so I'm going to read that and just talk about it for a second. This is not going to be preachy style. It's just, I think I'm just going to talk about like the things that I pointed out, and then maybe like a little bit of like notes and stuff. But it says, I'm reading from the NLT. It says, long ago, God spoke many times in many ways to our ancestors through the prophets. But now, in these final days, he has spoken to us through his Son. God promised everything to the Son as an inheritance, and through the Son, he made the universe and everything in it. So we didn't go through that part. And through the Son, he made everything in the universe and everything in it. We went through, and it was so crazy is I read the verse before the pastor read the verse. My pastor read the verse, and these two words hit me. Like, it just jumped out of the page for me. And then that's really what he was talking about today. And it's God spoke. And it says, long ago, God spoke many times and in many ways to our ancestors through the prophets. And the words God spoke just jumped out to me because I feel like I've just been kind of going through, I don't know, I'm just going through a time in my life that's very interesting, and it's like unknown, and I guess all throughout life is unknown, because even when things are going like really well and you're successful and the world's eyes, or maybe you're successful in God's eyes or whatever, but it's like you don't know when your world can be flipped upside down, or something could happen, or something good can happen, or something this or whatever. So we're all kind of living in the unknown, right? But those words just really stuck out to me, that God is not silent. And it just reminds me, like, and I like have to practice this of like just sitting in silence and allowing God to really speak, because I'm guilty of kind of just like speaking or praying, and nothing wrong with like being in like verbal prayer, And I always, like, I always have this thing with me where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, are we doing this right? Are we getting it right? You know, and I often think that we're not getting it right. I always base like the church off of the book of Acts, and I'm like, are we like, is this what the church looks like? Is this how we are living? Also like throughout the Gospels and the Bible. I mean, obviously, like in, you know, Paul's letters and stuff like that, like how he warns the churches and stuff like that. But I'm like, is this how we are living? And it convicts myself. I convict, you know, I feel convicted. I'm not saying I convict myself. When I say convict, I don't mean like condemn or condemnation. I don't mean, you know, like this guilt that needs to come over me. When I say conviction, or, you know, I feel convicted, I interpret that for myself as like a way of like God opening my eyes to something that I need to change in my life. Like, this is something that's not like, it's not the way that it should be. Maybe I have like a thought pattern that's not pleasing to the Lord, and it's not pleasing to anybody else either. It's not helpful. Or I have a habit and I feel convicted, right? So let's just say, I don't know, maybe it could be like you're on a diet, right? And you are supposed to stick to this diet for this, you know, you're committed to this diet for this long, right? And you get tempted to eat a cookie, right? And you're like, maybe one cookie isn't that bad. And you might feel this conviction, you're like, no, I need to stick to this diet. I need to stick to this diet because I told myself I'm going to stick to this diet. And it's just like some kind of like feeling, a feeling within. And it kind of just keeps you on the right path. You know what I mean? Because without that conviction, without that like feeling of like, maybe I shouldn't do that. You know, it's like you'll just do whatever the heck you want. So that's what I mean by like, conviction. I don't know if that was like a good analogy or if that was like a good explanation, but I look at conviction as a good thing. I feel like God like convicts me. Even like last night, God convicted me like just to be vulnerable. Like I just felt convicted because you know, sometimes my dad and I, we don't have like the best relationship, so it can be like very difficult. And you know, I felt convicted to give my dad like just my full attention, because sometimes I can kind of be a little bit like off and somewhere else, or you know, whatever, but like to just give him the attention. And then also we like watch a movie and just to sit and watch the movie with him, you know, and to not be like on my phone or doing something else, but just to like, okay, it's okay for you to sit and just watch the movie, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's like stems from a lot of different things, like our dynamic and our relationship, which I'm not going to get into, but like I just think that conviction is a very good thing, because it just kind of like, I look at it as like just veers you back onto the right path or the right way of thinking. And you know, I feel convicted like when I look at the church, you know, and like when I read the book, just the whole entire thing, I'm like, you know, I feel like, I mean, I think it's different in America. Okay, I'm sorry, this is not even, I'm going off on all kinds of tangents, but God spoke, right? God spoke many times in many ways to our ancestors through the prophets. So he spoke in the Old Testament. He spoke in the New Testament. It says, but now in these final days, he has spoken to us through his Son. And he still speaks today. And I just put for myself, I put the purposes of God speaking, and I put creation, like God spoke, you know, like in the beginning, God said, let there be light, you know, and like he just spoke things into existence. Like it wasn't like, oh, let me go build the world together and, you know, whatever, put this light up here and put this together and plant the trees. Like, no, he just spoke. You know what I mean? He just spoke existence, creation into existence. Instruction, guidance, healing, like instruction and guidance, like especially in the Old Testament, like the Old Testament really encourages me. And just like, oh man, like that reliance on God, the true reliance of like, he's guiding you by a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, and he's telling you, go there, go here, stay here, do this, do that. One second. He's instructing you, and he was guiding them, and it's just, I don't know, it's like, oh man, it's like just that reliance on him alone is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Healing, how Jesus, he would lay hands, but all he needed to do was like speak a word. I mean, the lady with the bleeding, he didn't even speak. He didn't even lay hands on her. She just touched his robe and she was healed. The purpose of his speaking is love and communication and relationship with us, and also to discipline us, and, to enforce. I know enforce sounds aggressive, but to just put laws in place and to show his authority. So that's what I put, like the purposes of God speaking. I'm sure there's other things. That's just what I put down. And like a couple of my notes, I guess, is just from today. It's not very much, like a lot. I just kind of, I don't know if anybody else's Bible like looks like just a bunch of random things like everywhere. I just put that God is not silent, and that I'm making it personal, that I need to listen, that I need to hear him. And how am I engaging with the Lord? Just like a little bit of reflection. And in the past and in the present, the Lord speaks, and that the Son, the capital S-O-N, is greater than the prophets. And we see, like, the Son versus the prophet, where it's like, long ago God spoke many times in many ways to our ancestors through the prophets, right? But now, in these final days, he has spoken to us through his Son. The avenue is different. You know what I mean? So God promised everything. Okay, so we stopped there. And let's see if there's anything else. And that God spoke powerful. Every word had weight and had meaning. That God isn't just, speaking just to speak, or just to hear his voice, just haphazardly, like blah, 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 blah. When he speaks, he says what he means, and he means what he says. And, and that God is still an active God, that God still speaks to us. God speaks in our lives and our hearts. And, but also, to like discernment is huge, and just making sure that it is God's voice and not our emotions, not our feelings. And, I don't know. It's just a lot of things to think of. There's a lot to unpack. He literally just went over that little part, and there was a lot to unpack just in that part, and I really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to like be here, or if I'm not here, I might just like listen online after I get home, because I do go back and forth. Like, I've been going to another church, and I really do enjoy it over there, and it's kind of been like my home church, or like the church that I've mainly been going to. But this church, I You know, I go back from time to time, and I'll go to church with, like, you know, my dad goes there. So, and I like to visit and go out to breakfast and kind of just hang out with everybody that, like, I used to see all the time and every week. So it's just really nice. But it was really good. I don't know, I think I'm just reflecting on a lot. I think I'm reflecting, but I also like want to take advantage of this time, because I feel like right now, I feel like during certain times I have like not an inability to feel, but I think I have less access to my emotions sometimes. And I think during certain times of the month, which I kind of like being a woman, but I think being a woman is difficult with like the hormones and all that stuff. It's like annoying. But I feel like at certain times it's a lot easier for me to like feel and like cry and get things out and really reflect. And you know, like, I try to take advantage of those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have access to my to that part of my brain again. It's really nice. Sorry, I sound crazy, but anybody that can relate knows what I'm talking about. Okay, y'all know. Okay, so I just want to finish up on this, what I was talking about. It's a couple hours has lapsed, even though it might not seem like it. I went out, so I don't really know where I left off, but I just hope that that was some kind of encouragement. I hope that that like made sense. And I guess just one last thing that I would say, or to remind ourselves, is to really sit and be present. And this is for me too. When I talk, I'm not coming from a place of like, oh, I have it all together and I have this perfected and I'm whatever. I'm talking to myself too, is just to sit and really enter into the Lord's presence and to be with him and to invite him into like every single thing that we do, every single decision that we make, and to really slow ourselves down. So that would be like my last little nugget. I'm going to enjoy some ginger chews. These are my favorites. Oh my gosh. Not this kind, but this flavor is still pretty good too. It's pineapple coconut, but the lychee, lemon, I think is my favorite. Well, the lychee and lemon, but blood orange and mango, all of them are really good. So I'm gonna enjoy some of that and enjoy the rest of my night. And I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your night or day whenever you're watching this. And I will see you guys next time. Adios.